started I Love Gorgeous. Why did you decide to design a kids line?
I think it started, we both had daughters. We both had, by this stage, 3 children, and our youngest was most probably about 3 or 4, so we'd been through the whole sort of actually dedicating the time to the other children. I think we got to that age and thinking it would be really nice to do something for ourselves. We very much thought it was something just to sort of go out, work with some factories that we'd known in India and produce something that was ours, have a creative outlet. And children's clothing at that time, it sort of seems like it's only 10 years ago, but actually it was really very different then. There was much less stuff around. I mean, now I know there are sort of multiple brands, but then it was really quite tricky. There were a few of the sort of, major big ones, the high streets, but the high streets weren't doing what they're doing now.
No, they were awful.
Yeah, or it was so expensive that it was sort of unobtainable.
Yes.
So I think we kind of wanted to try and fill that gap that was going there, as well as having a bit of an adventure.
I don't think we set out with an enormous ambition to be the next name on the marketplace, but we just set out with a very small ambition, which was to design a collection, bring it back and sell it to our friends, which did, and it was very successful and it did really well. And then, we sort of caught a bit of a bug, and then it was fun, and we were sourcing fabrics in Goldhawk Road and trucking them out to Bulgaria and finding factories without any sort of real idea of what we were doing, but it was just fun, actually.
You've just this season launched boys and obviously rebranded because of that, because the name I Love Gorgeous obviously didn't quite work for boys. So you've changed your name to Wild and Gorgeous and introduced this fabulous boys collection, which we'll definitely look at.
Yes.
I know your customers have been pestering you for a while about, I think I have, about creating a boys line. When did you actually think, okay, you know what, we actually really need to do this?
In the back of our mind, we know we need to do it. And one of the things that has been really holding us back, main thing has been our name. And we got just slightly caught up in how can we make I Love Gorgeous as a name work for boys. And also I think there was a slight issue about we have been known for doing party wear in our girls' wear thing. So it's creating a sort of parallel brand for boys that isn't just enough. Boys often want to wear a hoodie and a trackie and a old slubby jumper or something. And so creating something that sits appropriately alongside the party wear, but isn't too over the top, sort of bow ties and sort
Stiff.
of
Nothing stiff.
Exactly, and we're not, because we don't really, we like to think that what we do for girls has always got a bit of a twist, a little bit of a fashion twist to it, hopefully though still being appropriate. And I think that it just took us a bit of, really quite a long time, didn't it, just to sort of get together in our head, actually we can do this. And I think it was about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, we thought, okay, this is it, we're going to properly focus, find a new name, and design the collection and start doing it. And of course now we're thinking, why didn't we do it 5 years ago?
I think early days we just so loved designing girls' clothes, all the possibilities of fabric and trim, and we got really caught up in that. And then we'd go to the fabric shows and we'd go, okay, well now let's concentrate on the boys, and we'd look through sort of 20 different variations of navy and come away with a sort of sinking heart. We got really excited by this, and I think one of the things that's really surprised both of us, I think, is how much fun designing the boys has been, because having sort of made the decision that we needed to do it and found a name that we actually liked, because for ages we were toying with Not So Gorgeous and I Love George and all these sort of names that we kept tossing out, no. And finally we found Wild and Gorgeous that we really loved, and then obviously we had to do the collection. And I think it just really surprised us how much fun we could have with it, and finding our voice there felt like the beginning of I Love Gorgeous again, because of course once you've been doing girls' clothes for 10 years, which we basically have, you get into, you stop seeing it so much, you get into a sort of routine with it, and we've loved it, and we love the dimension that has come in from the boys. And the fact that a lot of the girls are really loving the boys' collections and getting into the, I think there's much less gender separation, it seems to me. You get to have a boy and but, could happen. But I don't know, it's sort of, I feel like we found our voice in it and we're enjoying it, and it's put a little bit of life back into the brand.
To be honest, we don't look around too much about what's going on. We do go relatively instinctively, and we do follow mainline fashion and what's going on in the adult world of fashion.
Yes.
And so we do look at catwalks, we do sort of look at magazines, and we try and use that as our starting point,
Right.
rather than looking at other kids' wear
you look at
brands.
women's.
We
and
look
now
at women's and men's,
Yeah.
and then we sort of say, okay, obviously that's too much because it's too low cut or it's too eccentric, but how can we take that so that a child is going to feel good in it without it being overtly sort of trendy and self-conscious? That's really the way we try and keep it fresh, because at the moment your eyes are too stuck on what other people are doing, then you're just basically doing, same as,
Yes,
and
I
we're
agree.
trying to keep a little bit ahead, because
Yes.
there's a competitive market out there.
Very. But
it's
yours
not-
does stick out. Your brand is very distinctive. I mean, I could pick it. I mean, I go to these trade shows and see, oh my God, thousands
Yes.
of things. And I can even, blindfolded say, oh, that's an I Love Gorgeous. You can, it's
Yes.
very distinctive, which is great. You've got
Yes.
your voice.
Well, it'd be great to see the royal Prince George and Princess Charlotte on wearing our things. That would be exciting. And I think frankly, it's anyone out there. We just walking down the street, if you see someone wearing our dress, it still gives us a thrill. I think Angelina Jolie's kids are gorgeous, and that tomboy thing, I sort of think this boys range could really work
Very much so.
for them, and I think that would be sort of quite fun because, I think she is a very interesting family, dynamic woman, so I think that could be good.
Well, missing my middle son's birthday every year for about 5 years in a row because it falls in September, and that was
When
always
are the
when we
shows?
had to. Well, it was always when we were sort of travelling out into the factories, actually, somehow, the end of the summer, and sort of getting back down to business. So I think that was quite hard, leaving the children. And when we started, the older ones were sort of a bit. You don't really sort of calculate how much of your time it's going to take, because you go in with your eyes shut, really, when you start business.
Oh yes, of course. It's all, isn't this going to be lovely? I
Yeah,
have to work with
something-
glitter and
Yeah.
sequins and
Yes.
actually, which I'm
Actually,
going to work 24/7.
Something to do for a couple of hours in the morning while the kids are in nursery.
Yeah.
And of course, very quickly. It's sort of careful what you wish for.
Careful.
Well,
yes.
the myth being that having your own business means that you work less. You actually probably work more and
For
harder
sure.
and longer hours. And so that meant certainly for me, I was coming down to London a lot, leaving the children, particularly the youngest, when he was quite small. That was a bit of sort of separation issue. So I think that was hard. But actually, then they did all become involved in the shoots and the sort of process, because it was children's clothes. It was a sort of interest.
So we
around
could
it.
sort of carry them along with us on some of it and get their opinion, couldn't we? I mean, I would say in the defence of having your own business, of course, what it does mean is that you can sort of have your holidays, together. So we did try and manage it earlier on, and obviously now we're much bigger, so that we could sort of go and spend, a month with our kids in the summer. And of course you've got emails now, so you can do
Yes.
stuff from the beach, you can stay in
Yes,
touch
yes.
with what's going on. But I think that's a sort of is one of the nice things about starting your own business. So yes, on one level, when you're working, you are working really hard and long hours, but you can also say, all right, it's half term and I'm going to spend this with the kids.
Can you each please pick your favourite piece from the boys and the girls line for autumn winter and tell me why you like it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the pieces that I do think these black and white striped skinny trousers just look so cute.
They're brilliant.
And they fit really well. They are sort of super skinny, and you can even roll them up with trainers. We've got lots of t-shirts to go with it, but I do have a bit of a thing about this little button-up top, which I think sort of buttoned up can still look quite cool. There are many things that might go with this as well, but that's I think although actually I'm much better just to have a little bit of tartan. I do quite also enjoy that with a bit of a tartan, the black and white stripes, which sort of makes me, takes us back to that sort of time, sort of late 70s when there was the whole punk thing going on. And I have to say, this jacket I really,
it's beautiful.
really like.
I love that.
Because
I love it.
to me, it's like a smart jacket, but it's just got a little bit more. It's got the camo print on it, so it's a little bit cooler and unusual. It's really warm and it's fluffy,
it's got a fluffy lining.
It is super, super soft. So, that is literally like putting sort of a teddy next to you, which of course most children really want.
Well, I really love these little trousers, and you probably can't see from there, but they've got this very fine check, so they're quite a slick little trouser, and my son likes to wear them sort of slightly rolled up with trainers. So
are they skinny?
They're pretty
quite
skinny,
slim
yeah, flat-fronted, skinny trousers with a little, just enough sort of stretch in them to make them comfy. But I've always loved a little sharp suit, and one of the things that we've always, I think, done quite well with our party wear is party wear, but sort of styled down a bit scruffy, with trainers or whatever. And so you can do the full suit thing.
That is
But certainly, if I was wearing the suit, I would put it with a little, with a little t-shirt and some little trainers, and to me that's quite a cool little look.
We actually designed this print ourselves, so it's really sort of fun using an original print for something. And we were inspired by a sort of Japanese theme this season of going, so we've got this sort of split neck and this sort of slightly Japanese thing, and this sort of sits on the hip. It's going down really well with the older girls, this already, and I do think it looks cute over one of our faux fur coats with just the trim again, which makes it really cosy, and I think styled nicely with a little boot like this one, where you've got a little bit of glitter, but it's still quite sort of cool and relaxed. And I think for the sort of slightly older girl, that's a good look that I love.
I must say I rather like this sort of party dress with the, with the red net. You can either go for full-on red, or actually there's a very pretty sort of soft
grey, isn't there?
There's a very pretty soft grey that does an altogether more subtle thing. Yeah. So we're quite known for our sort of swooshy party wear, and I think it was you, Suzanne, when I met you. So was it one of your girls saying, "I want more twirl"?
Yes, they love twirling. That's their thing. That's what they always did in their. I'm going to call it I Love Gorgeous because that's what it was at the time. All their I Love Gorgeous dresses, which they literally are obsessed with, literally, and I'm not just saying that because I'm with you, but they love swishing. They fancied themselves in it. They literally walked around proud of themselves. But I talked to other people I've met through work and friends of mine, and their kids say the same. And it's very, very interesting. They feel good about themselves wearing the clothes, which is unusual and actually, well, I mean, a huge compliment, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That
well, it is
think
adorable
that.
to see a little girl put a dress on and do the sort of whole thing, because, I don't know, it is a peculiarly female thing.
What's sort of next? Anything that you could share with us that's kind of in the pipeline or being considered or something?
Well, I think we're obviously this is our first boys collection. We've designed the spring summer boys collection and the next autumn winter boys collection. So all of that is sort of building on a strength. But I think possibly we have got one eye on perhaps doing a sort of capsule women's wear collection, largely because we've been asked for it so many times. But we're very much at the stage of dipping our toe in the water, and we want and children's wear is what we do and what we love. I think really it's about consolidating that for us at the moment, and then maybe thinking about rather than actually committing to anything like that for the future. But, you
But
know,
I suppose the name now also gives you the scope to do
We
different
feel
things.
we could go into anything, whether we want to do some bedroom for the girl, whether
I was
we
going to
want do
say,
adults.
homeware, I'd love you to do it, but
Well,
homeware would be
it's-
so...
It's all,
Yeah.
we've got this lovely
Soft
big
and
talk
list
about that too.
that are things that we would like to achieve. But what we have also learnt over the years is to take it one step at a
Yes.
time. So each year we'll give ourselves a sort of a challenge, and obviously this year's been the rebrand and getting the boys off the ground. And you know, and then we, what's the usual? Should we have a look at home? Should we look at women's? But the truth is, we do get asked for women's so much that it does feel quite an obvious thing. Although I also think that children's bedrooms are quite a thing, because it is very hard to find
So
nice
hard.
duvet cover that's
So-
not
So
these
hard.
omnipresent things. that
Like
are-
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I think the one lesson we've learned from the whole rebrand and doing the boys, which, you know, we probably had a bit of a block about it for quite a long time, we couldn't get beyond the name, is that once you do it, you know, it seems like a lot of work, but actually it's fun. It's more fun because we are creative people, and a creative challenge is sort of what makes us tick in a way. It's, you know, I think we both really love what it's brought into the business.
Yes, I think definitely. And as Sophie said, I think earlier, it takes us back to slightly how it was when we were starting. Because with these businesses, I think unless you keep them moving, they can slightly stagnate a bit, and then
Totally.
you just sort of, the love is lost slightly.
Yes.
And I think that we did, you know, for a couple of years we were sort of slightly struggling about where we were going to move it. But now this definitely feels like a new phase that we can sort of just go wherever we want to with it. So that's what we're planning to do. You know, that's what we hope to do.
You heard it first.
You heard it here first. Thank you both so much for your time and your gorgeous clothes and your wild clothes and good luck.